give it a few. Let me pull up.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Melissa, if you can put
Yes,
the flag up. Sure, take your time. Okay, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, individually, with liberty and justice for all. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Can you hear? Yeah. I don't know how to turn my phone off over there. Sorry. Okay. Melissa, can you call the roll, please?
Sure. Miss Egan?
Here.
Miss Fahey is absent. Miss Marcus?
Here.
Mr. Parati?
Here.
Mr. Rubinich?
Here.
Miss Calderon?
Here.
Miss Skelton?
Here.
Mr. Sampone?
Here.
Miss Wajwitz?
Here. Okay. Notice of the December 11th, 2020 meeting of the Board of Education was emailed to the clerks of the boroughs of Essex Fells, North Caldwell, and Roseland, and to the Township of Fairfield, and to the editors of the Progress on December 9th, 2020, and the Star Ledger on the same day. Okay. Okay. The West Essex Regional School District Board of Education will hold a special public meeting on Friday, December 11th at 11 a.m. for the purpose of considering and acting on the recommendations of the superintendent of school to amend the sports seasons 2, 2A and 3, which have been revised by the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association. The meeting will be conducted remotely with the information for participation by the public posted on the district website. Action will be taken. Okay. So I just want to mention a couple of things. As per our board policy change, we have now put our, oh, thank you, that's much better. We've now put our audio recordings on the board for our board meetings on the website. So this past Monday's meeting and our board retreat on November 18th are now up on the website for anyone who would like to listen to those audio recordings. I also will be sending the board there was an Essex County School Board meeting this past Wednesday, which I know a couple of us had attended, and they shared with us a code of conduct for virtual meetings. It's just some guidelines. So I will send that to the board today for your review, and then I think it's something that we should review and consider adopting at our January reorg meeting. I also want to mention real quickly, I know that we rotate our board presidency every year, and I know possibly Anne would be next in line. She is not able to take that position this year, and I would like to suggest to the board, if possible, for the board to consider that I would stay on or be reelected for another year due to the pandemic. I think it's been a crazy year, and I'd like to consider rerunning this year. So I'm just putting that out there for anyone. If anyone wants to discuss that, we can have a conversation. And lastly, I just want to talk about a few emails that we received regarding the calendar that we just approved this past Monday at our board meeting. I think, Damien, I received a couple. I think you're up to 8 emails that we received. So I know if anyone would like to have a discussion, we can do that. If we can come to conclusion quickly, we can. If not, we'll table it because I know everyone's at work. We can table it for one of our January meetings. We still have a little bit of time. So that's all I would like to report on. So if there are any board comments on anything calendar or the board presidency or anything else, please share your comments. Yes, Jan, I see your hand. Yes, go ahead.
Mary, I'd love if we have some consensus to be able to resolve the issue around the calendar today, just so that I think communications back out could be important. But I'm not sure where the rest of the board stands, but I would be in favor of adjusting the calendar so that by one day, so that the start date does not fall on the second day of Rosh Hashanah.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
So Mary,
Yes.
Thanks to Jan with her comment on that. Number one, I didn't know you were going to talk about it, but I would likewise be honored to continue as well if permitted this year. I felt very much shortchanged with the pandemic on being able to do some of the things in an administration type role as VP, but that's up to the board. So that's number one. Number two, as far as the calendar, I didn't think we would necessarily, I'm not quite sure a speedy resolution today was needed, but I'm open to consideration with how the other board members feel about it. Also would certainly give a little more time for feedback. I don't remember how many comments in total were received, but at the same time, how many West Essex community families are there? And relatively speaking, I think we have time, but again, I'll be open-minded about it. And I don't disagree with necessarily a change, but just this more specifics. I'm not sure why it needs to be resolved today, to be honest. But again, that's just Tony's 2 cents. Thank you.
Hey, Mary, question. You putting out your, I guess let me ask this appropriately. Are you putting out your candidacy that you are running, you'd like to run for the board president, or are you saying that you'd automatically like to be board president?
Well, I'm just mentioning that I would like to be run for presidency again.
Right. Okay.
Yes. It has to be approved every year, and normally we do rotate it. And like I said, I think Anne would be next in line, but she does not have the time unless someone else has an interest. I'm just saying, since we are mid-pandemic and things have been kind of crazy, I do have the time and, would love to stay on if the board approves that. If not, that's fine.
No, I just wanted a clarification because I think not only for the presidency, the vice presidency, there would have to be a slate of candidates also. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't like saying, "Hey, I'm asking you to make me now." We would do the same thing with vice president. Anybody who would like to be vice president can run also. Regarding the calendar, if we do it today, I'm fine with it. If the change is needed, that's I have no problem doing it today.
Mary?
Yes, Deb.
Hi, this is Debbie. Number one, regarding you being president next year, I think that I would be in support of that. I think a continuum through the pandemic and all that you've done, the time that you've sacrificed, and all the effort that you've put in communication with Damien and administration. And I think that in order to have a smooth transition through till next year, I would definitely support you being the president again. Regarding the calendar, I think it should be a full board discussion. And I know Anne is the only one who is not here today. And I think we should give time for the public, for them to communicate to each other and so that they can all, weigh in on it. So we can have a little bit more of a input from the whole community. And then I think we should have discussion of it at our next board meeting. I mean, because it's not imminent, it's not a calendar that's going to be affecting anyone come January. It is a September calendar. I would like to get as much input from the community that we can and have full board discussion. So that would be my input for today.
Okay.
Mary, this is Ray. I second what Deb was saying, and I'd like to have a full meeting. I also asked Damien for some data so we could make a data-driven decision on the calendar. So I think we need just some time to gather that data and get the community's input and then make a decision.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Yeah. Hi there. I just, whether it's, I don't even know what resolved today means. I think, Mary, from, the comment on the email I read earlier, I thought it was just, I appreciate you bringing it up today, especially given that we have heard from a number of people in the community so quickly after we approved the calendar. And to Damien, I know I just, I want to acknowledge the efforts, the lengths that you went to try to collaborate to create the calendar. So I fully understand that this is frustrating. That said, sometimes best of intentions, sometimes things get overlooked, and I appreciate that we have the opportunity to take a look at it. And I just wanted to clarify that to the best of my knowledge and based on the feedback that I've heard firsthand, my understanding is that the people I've heard from are asking for consideration to not have the first day of school, nor any other major school event scheduled on a religious holiday that is an excused religious absence. So I think some of the things that I kind of heard and read, it sounded like this was a suggestion or a request to have Rosh Hashanah become a designated 2-day holiday. And again, this is just what I've heard. I just wanted to clarify while those of us who are here today, that's not what I'm hearing. This is about the first day of school and that it happens to fall on a holiday, and that this isn't about a 2-day closure for Rosh Hashanah. So I just, and with that said, whether this was, whatever the religion, I think it's, we've taken, I think, pretty big steps this year to acknowledge that we want to work towards, an environment that's, with cultural sensitivity and inclusiveness. And I think any religion, scheduling anything big on our school calendar on a religious holiday, we should just really think twice before doing that.
And let me just add to the data question. The data would be similar if we started the first day of school on Good Friday, right? Just to give you a sense of the data.
I got it, Jan, but it is a 2-day holiday that right now that the school district has only allotted 1 day in the past for this holiday. So just like it wouldn't be like doing it on Good Friday, it would be doing it on Holy Thursday. So there is a difference, and that's not what I just want to understand the data. I want to understand how many people actually take off the second day of the holiday. And if it's 10, 20 people, 30 people compared to the 1,800 or whatever we have in the school, I want to understand that. So we're taking the majority or a good portion of the population in account, and it's not just for a select, number of people. I just want to have that data so we can make that decision.
Wow.
Yes.
That's an unfortunate response.
And why is that? Why is that?
So I guess my my bewilderment of this conversation is that, again, as we typically have to say a lot of times, this is not a small percentage of the population. And let's just say, for your sake of argument, that it was 10% of our population. To schedule the first day of school on a very meaningful and important religious holiday that is recognized is something that this board should take seriously and not dismiss whether it's 10% or 90% of those that observe that holiday.
And that's why I said I'd like to have a full board discussion on this, get some information, get some data, and let's have a discussion about it. I don't want to make a rash decision now without the full discussion with the board.
Can I bring up something? I think we need to not necessarily worry so much about it. It is a holiday. It is a religious holiday, and that's I don't think it is up for discussion. But I think we need to give the administration some time to come up with maybe some other opportunities. We don't need to make that decision today. Maybe there's some other start date that we can work on. We don't need to worry about, and that's not our decision of whether it's a holiday or not. We need to give the administration some time to make a decision of when the proper start date is. I don't think we need to make that decision today, and that's the only reason we're pushing it off. We're not saying it doesn't need to be looked at. So let's give the administration some time to come up with some opportunities and move on from there. I don't think it needs to be discussed anymore. And I would like to just say that I would like to not, I'll worry about it in January, but I definitely support keeping Mary and Tony in their positions.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. And I just want to say too, today, just because this special meeting came up, I just thought I would bring up the calendar since we have gotten a couple emails. And Jill, to your point, no one has requested that going forward that we have 2 days for Rosh Hashanah. It is that just to clarify, their emails do just say because it is the first day of school. This could be, who knows if we'll be back in school. I hope full time we'll be back in school. But if we are back in school, full time, it will be the first day for seventh graders and stuff like that. So this isn't a precedent, and we will, say, this will not be, setting a precedence going forward. It is just because it happens to fall the second day of Rosh Hashanah happens to fall on the first day of school. So, we definitely will have, further discussion. I know Anne would like to have a discussion as well. I just thought I would bring it up because I know that we have just gotten some emails. So I wasn't really looking to definitely make a decision today, but I did want to put that out there in case there are people on the meeting, who have sent emails and are wondering. So we are going to review it. It is something that we will, definitely consider. It's as important as a Holy Thursday would be, or, anything else. So it is something that, we can have further discussion on and just, talk about it at our next meeting. I just wanted to put that out there to everyone because, it has come up. So,
And Mary, I think
everyone's feedback. Yes.
As Cindy said, we have to give administration, and I know that our superintendent speaks with the other 4 sending superintendents, and we've been pushing all these years, and so have parents, that we align our calendars as much as we can. I know that we're a little bit different, being a high school and a middle school. We have different parameters and things that we have to fulfill, and we can't align everything. But we have been trying wholeheartedly, all these superintendents, 5 superintendents, so that people can organize their vacations, childcare for the elementary groups. So I think this would, if we just have the conversation going forward, and I say we have a conversation and we see what all the districts are bringing to the table and we can align ourselves, then I think we are in a better position, to have a full board discussion.
Agreed. Okay. And Damien did have, and I know that Damien did speak with the 4 sending districts, and they originally did align their calendars until this was brought to everyone's attention. So I think that the other superintendents as well may be going back to their board. So I'm not going to speak for Damien, but I'm pretty sure that that's what he had said. They had all aligned their calendars. This was going to be the start date, and now it has been brought to our attention. So I think, I don't know if all 4 are going to be changing their calendars, if some will be, some won't be. So again, we do have time, even if we approve this, or look at it again in January, we still have time for people to, make changes. And I do think administratively, Damien does need to speak to the other superintendents as well. Again, Damien, not to speak for you, but so I wasn't really looking for an immediate, change or, anything like that today, but I did want to put it out there so we could have the discussion,
So Mary, if I can just offer a couple words, okay?
Yeah. Sure, go ahead. And then we'll move on. Yep.
Yeah. So first of all, to the, for our members of the community that did reach out to me, I appreciate the emails. Okay. It was very helpful that people reached out to me directly, that those concerns were brought to my attention. And I really appreciated that. We certainly try to build the calendar every year. We try to take everything into consideration. We do our best. And sometimes, the group of people that are doing this, maybe we miss something. So I did tell the people that reached out to us that we certainly are going to take a look at it. It's under further review. I alerted my colleagues. We'll take a look at it. What I would prefer is if you let us go back, we'll review it. I'll be in touch with the other superintendents, and I can be prepared at the next meeting to have a printed version that you can take a look at, that we can have a better visual and make a recommendation. Certainly taking into consideration all the feedback that we've received, looking at some of the data, and come back and make an appropriate recommendation at that time. I think it's certainly reasonable, given the timeline, that we can have something in place for January.
Great. Thank you.
And Mary, just one thing. I just want to make sure I'm just clear. I'm not being insensitive to the holiday, and I support everybody's personal religion and anything they want to do. I just want to make sure we have all the information that we have to make an informed decision. That's all I'm saying. I'm not being, disrespectful to any religion or anybody. I just want the data, and let's have an educated discussion, and then we make our decision to move forward.
Great. Yes, thank you, Ray. Okay, anything else? No. Okay, at this time, I will open up the floor for public comments on agenda items. Please remember, agenda items are the items that we will be voting upon today. Also, if you have any specific questions concerning your individual child, they should be directed to their teacher or supervisor or building principal. And Melissa will set the clock at 3 minutes if there are any questions on agenda items. Okay, and I forgot I have to read this. In accordance with bylaw 0167, a copy of which is available on the district's website, the board is now opening up the meeting for a period of public comment. Please remember to announce your name, place of residence, and group affiliation if appropriate. Your statements will be limited to 3 minutes in duration. The board will, of course, consider your comments as they relate to the obligation to effectively govern the West Essex School District. Are there any questions on agenda items?
So there are 2 hands up,
Okay.
and they've been up since we started our discussion. So I can allow them to talk and find out if they're about the calendar. Or...
Well, if you have your hand up, if it's not an agenda item, please wait until the end of the meeting, and then we can answer your questions.
Okay, what do you want? I have 2 hands.
Okay, sure. Then let them speak.
Okay.
So I'm unsure from the understanding here, is this my opportunity to talk about the calendar, or am I supposed to?
No, you need to wait. So right now it's just on the agenda items, the things that we'll be voting upon in the agenda.
Okay, I'll wait then.
Okay.
Okay, so we're good. So he just put his hand back up to wait till after. So we're good.
Sure. Okay. Then we will move on. Okay. Okay. Tony, you're on my screen that I can see you. Tony, you want to take personnel?
Okay, Madam President. The following personnel motions are made at the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. Anything placed on this agenda, that's items 1 and 2, will be voted upon in one motion, and I so move.
Second. Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, Melissa, you can call the roll.
Miss Egan,
Yes.
Miss Marcus,
Yes.
Mr. Parati,
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Rubinich,
Yes.
Miss Calderon,
Yes.
Miss Skelton,
Yes.
Mr. Stampone,
Yes.
Miss Wojcicki.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, at this time, I will open up the floor for public comments on non-agenda items.
Okay, so I'll let Mr. Eisenberg speak.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate this and opportunity, and I appreciate all the work that you guys do. And I understand, balancing a calendar is difficult and challenging. However, I want to make sure that we're agree with it. Is that Rosh Hashanah is a 2-day holiday in the Jewish religion, and it's day 1 and day 2 are equal. So we can't make an exception or a broad statement. That's like Holy Thursday. That's like Good Friday. Those are their own holidays, and they are equally of value. And there's no difference amongst any of them. So, my simple point here, and I wasn't aware of this, I found out about this secondhand. For me, I was surprised that I even have to come forward to even present this in the day and age that we live in, where we're so sensitive to so many different things out there, and anybody says anything and we have to do. And, for me, this is kind of simple. I just don't see how we start school on that day. And regardless of the fact that it has not been accepted as a 2-day holiday, I understand from the school's vantage point. I think that's maybe something that I need to address as well. So perhaps, you can tell me the steps forward to begin a petition for that. But I can tell you, Rosh Hashanah, day 1, day 2, it's the same thing. All right. So I don't want to have it looked at incorrectly. And I apologize with no disrespect to the statement that was made earlier by the gentleman, but It's not the case. Day one, day two, it's exactly the same. It doesn't matter, as it was stated earlier, 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%. We make exceptions these days because we always want to be sensitive to everybody and we want to be inclusive. And if you want to generate that environment here, at this great school, then we should make sure that let's adjust the calendar. Why do we have to start on that day? And as you guys said, have enough time to figure it out over the next couple of weeks. So I hope that you're going to take my input seriously. If there's anything else I can do to raise the bar, whatever you want me to do, if I need to collect names, I will. But I can tell you this definitely does affect people, and it is very important.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Eisenberg. We will, we will take it into consideration, and we will be looking further at the calendar, as we said. But thank you for, coming on and expressing your concerns. What town are you from?
Roseland.
Roseland. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Mary?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mary?
Yes.
Right. Can I say something right now, or do I wait for the remainder of the public comments since we're in that portion?
Okay. Let's see what other public comments we have, and then I'll let you.
Okay, because I raised my hand before. I didn't just jump in, and I didn't. That's okay.
I didn't see your hand raised.
It was the first one, but it's okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Okay. Next is Mindy Alper.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi. So I know that calendars are very, very challenging, and I don't for a minute think that this was anything intentional. I think it was an oversight, and once it was called to everyone's attention, I appreciate the focus that has been given to it and considering the alternatives. And I appreciate wanting to wait to have the full discussion with the board. I understand that. I just wanted to speak to one piece that was mentioned earlier about having the desire for this to be a data-driven decision. And, I appreciate and applaud the board, at the last meeting when you supported a district goal that had the objective of continued improvement in school climate and culture. And this is for religious minorities, this is for racial minorities, this is for a variety of kids at the school who don't fit the majority. And so there might be a lot of decisions over the next months and years that aren't necessarily data driven in terms of the number of people affected, but the message that is sent by making those decisions is really important. And so I just wanted to, align the goal that the board agreed to and this decision, because there will not be many people that will be affected by this. But I think the message, especially when we're talking about one day, is really important. So I appreciate all of you taking the time to reconsider this, and also, offer my help if anyone has any questions.
Great. Thank you, Mindy. Yep, we will. We're going to look at it further. Thank you.
Okay, that's all I have for hands.
Okay.
I'll make sure I'll scroll. Yeah, that's all I have for hands.
Okay. Tony, did you want to speak?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say earlier, but it's still, I believe, it's not going to be offensive in any way right now. I just wanted to say that my only remarks earlier were tied to the decision being needed to make today. That was my only point, and I think with the decision, it comes the issues of what to do, and as a board, first and foremost, we'll get a recommendation from the superintendent. We'll provide input to that, of course, but that was my only issue, was the urgency to make a decision today at this special meeting versus allowing the time, and I just wanted to reiterate that. I've already shared some comments on this subject, as you know, so thank you.
Great. Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for coming today. I know everyone, took this time out from their busy schedule to have this special meeting. So I really appreciate everyone coming. Okay, at this time then, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Tony, want to read?
Yes, Madam President. There being no further business before this Board of Education, be it resolved that this public meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone. See
Good
you
weekend,
in
everybody.
January.
Have a nice
Thank you,
weekend.
guys.
Friday.
Bye. Happy
Bye,
Friday.
everybody.
Thanks for
Bye.
coming.